Yes, guys, welcome back to the WM32Football podcast. This week we are going to be talking things North London, but we're going to have a little bit of a twist. So we are going to go through our teams of the last decade or so. So we're going to go from 2010 right the way through until sort of 2019. Connor, I know this one has been a bit of a difficult one for you, given the state of Arsenal over the last sort of 10 years or so, but let's see what you come up with.
Before we go anything, this has been the worst era for however long for Arsenal this last decade. We still won more trophies than you, so it's fine. I struggled with goalkeepers, as you could probably tell.
I think you struggled with a lot. So talk me through it.
I've got Szczesny in goal.
Okay.
Just due to the fact I can't really put Leno in because he's only realistically had a year of the decade to play in goal. Cech was at the end of his career. We know he wasn't good enough. Ospina's not a keeper. Fabianski didn't decide to be a keeper till he went to West Ham. And that left me with Szczesny or Lehmann.
Well, Szczesny has come out and said that he is pretty much the best goalkeeper. Having kept out Alisson at Roma. And now keeping out Buffon at Juventus.
Whatever he was smoking in the shower must have been great.
Kids, don't smoke, by the way. Any kids watching, please do not smoke.
But he wasn't a bad keeper. He's literally... He got a lot of the blame for what Leno's getting a lot of the praise for, which is having a shaky defence in front of you. Literally, every time Arsenal lose, it's Szczesny's fault. Now, if Arsenal lose, defence. It's literally just gone like that. Because he was a good keeper. We've seen him make some great saves. I remember away at Anfield when we won 2-1. He made that double penalty save. I think it was from Dirk Kuyt, which was phenomenal. Other than Bakary Sagna, we've only had Hector at right back, so going with Hector. Yet again, pretty class. He's good going forward. Questionable at the back, but which right back isn't? Don't say Tanganga. Because Koscielny basically had 10 years at the club. Before Unai Emery got rid of him, basically. Forced him out of the club. I've gone with Rob Holding.
Interesting one. I want to know some more about this one.
Since he's come into the side, remember the FA Cup final against Chelsea where he was solid. Most of the time, he was Arsenal's best centre-back last year until getting injured. When he's played this season, he's looked like Arsenal's best centre-back. He's comfortable on the ball. You can already tell he's a leader. He spends, when he's not training and stuff like that, and not playing, he spends a lot of the time in and around the club anyway. So he seems like a decent lad. And plus, it was him or Mertesacker.
The big German. Any other potential contenders then at centre-back, or was it pretty straightforward?
Pretty straightforward because there's Scalacci, there's David Luiz, Socrates.
Gallas not get a mention, not get a look in. William Gallas.
Who? Left back is my debatable one, as well as the keeper. Because I had Tierney hasn't played. Otherwise, would be my left back. Kolasinac, great going forward, can't defend. That's not his fault.
Can defend Mesut Ozil though in Albert Streets, but that's about it.
The funny thing is, a guy literally hit him with a knife and he didn't get scared. Salah runs at him. It's game over. And before anyone says it, Staffy's not a centre back, so before you throw that one in as well. Gibbs was up there, but he sort of tailed off in the decade. Monreal was sort of our consistent left back for a while, so that's why I've gone with him in there. The midfield pretty much sorts itself. Ozil, at the time, record signing. If it wasn't for Giroud going on a 16-game goal drought and our other forwards getting injured, he would have been record assister that season, the year we should have won the league, which says a lot about Arsenal's worst decade, same as we should have won a league title in there. I hope this one isn't worse. Because he got 19 assists, one off the record by the 14th of February. And then Giroud, I was like, no. I'm going to quiff my hair instead. Santi Cazorla, what more can I say? He's miss him.
I think every Arsenal fan is literally in the same position. It's just the fact that, I mean, a fantastic footballer. And obviously Spurs were linked with him under Harry Redknapp amongst many players that we were linked with, and then you see the quality that he brought to Arsenal. I think every Arsenal fan that I've spoken to about Cazorla, or if there's one player that they'd have back, it's Santi Cazorla all day, every day.
Cazorla was just a dream. It was so I've watched every single player on this board apart from Aubameyang, and the one I get the most live in the flesh.
Yeah.
The one I get the most joy out of watching still now when I watch La Liga, because I watch more foreign football than English, apart from Prem, is Cazorla, because even the little things he does, like before your body faint about 3 people go and get my hot dog, you're there going. He takes corners with his right foot, left foot, free kicks right foot, left foot. I remember like Emmanuel Smith Rowe coming out in interviews going, I don't know what foot he is, like it's questionable. Like, and the way he glided past people, he wasn't running, he was gliding. I remember the game against City where we won 2-0, and it was like, I think it was 7 or 8 tackles and interceptions in that game, an assist, a goal, 3 shots in that game that he had. Arsenal only had 5 shots in total. And there was one point where he gets the ball on the edge of the area, goes past 1, goes past 2, goes past 3, goes past 4, goes past a 5th, gets fouled, and gets up and takes a free kick, and you're there going, you're a magician. And Ramsey, just because of what he did in the decade, 2 FA Cup final winning goals.
I think that one is quite an interesting one because...
Who would you have put in? What midfielder?
I mean... Aaron Ramsey, for me, at Arsenal was such a weird commodity in the sense that a lot of fans perhaps jumped on him fairly quick.
Yeah, they did.
And didn't necessarily give him time, because you got to remember, I think he came from Cardiff as like an 18-year-old. You've got to make that step up. You're not going to, any sort of normal team in the Premier League. He's going into one of the big boys at the time. And I think, he might have struggled to begin with, and then I think only towards the end of his time at Arsenal did fans really sort of appreciate what he'd done for the club.
I remember in 2008 when he signed, I remember his first game against Blackburn, and he came on, he provided an assist within, I think it was about 5 minutes, and it was fairly viral. And from then you could tell there was something different about him.
Yeah.
And then he just carried on, but injuries blighted him. Like the year he did he broke his ankle. So he broke his ankle, snapped the bone, and dislocated his ankle, and something else in his foot he did, which left him out for, I think it was 19 on 20 months.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back in his first game back, scores against United. You're there going, imagine if we'd still had this player for that season, because at that point we were top of the league.
Yeah.
He had his off days, but when he was on form, he was the best player on the pitch. I remember him last year coming off the bench against you, starting against you
at Wembley.
Starting against Chelsea at the Emirates. I'm pretty sure he came off the bench.
He did. He come off the bench at the Emirates against this year,
and in all 3 of those games, he was the best player on the pitch.
That's easy to turn up for the bigger games, isn't it? You know what I mean? You got to be consistent.
He was consistent a couple of times before injuries. My front 3, 2 of them speak for themselves. The other one's questionable. Aubameyang, quickest player to hit 50 goals in an Arsenal shirt. He's carried us most of this last couple of seasons. Also, I didn't want to have to put someone like Nicholas Bentner in. It is his birthday, but it's questionable. But there was like players that you could have gone like Eduardo, if he hadn't got injured, would he have stayed longer, would he have played more? Because I remember him coming back for Shakhtar Donetsk game, which we won 5-1. He scored the goal, and the whole crowd stood up and gave him a standing ovation when he scored. Like, he was loved. But Aubameyang, partnering him up top, Lacazette, because yet again, forward options have not been phenomenal. Giroud could have won a league title, someone that can play a piano. He's on the far left-hand side. We haven't had many great wingers. There was Arshavin at the start of the decade, but he was dropping off. Awobi was good, but not for world class. This was a player when he came in, he hadn't had a summer off for 2 years. We're like, oh my god, this boy's gonna eat. Like, first few months is gonna hurt him, and he hit the ground running. Remember the volley against City, inside of his foot, just put it top in. Show up was, don't know why he dived, but he still did. Then he just carried on and carried on and carried on, and he got better and better, and he became more and more influential as time went on. And then contracts. My favourite thing at Arsenal, contracts. And to be fair to him, he'd been at Barca, he comes to Arsenal, and when you come to a club like Arsenal who are struggling at the time, you've won two FA Cups, because Ozil's the only one on. Ozil and Ramsey the only one on there with more than 2 FA Cups. No, Koscielny as well. 3. We won 3 FA Cups this decade. How many have you won?
None. Don't worry about it.
He came in. He was good. Very, very good. And the contracts come up, and you're there going, yeah, sign it. All you have to do is sign. Do something, please. And then rumblings came out that he didn't want to be at the club. He was kicking off with staff, kicking off with players, shouting at players for when we wouldn't play well. When you're there going, he's becoming worse than what he is. And towards the end of his time at Arsenal, you could see the not having summers off were catching up with him. I remember a Palace game where, he scored both goals, but he looked tired, and you could see he was physically dropping off that season anyway. And I said this to United fans: he's physically dropping off. He's not the same player. He's not running as much as he was. He's not making the same tackles. He's not making the same sprints into the box. There's something wrong with him. And when he goes to United, it just falls off a cliff. You're there going, told you. Told you, didn't I? There's a couple of mentionable players that could have got in. Awobi, if he'd done more. Walcott, just for one reason and one reason only.
Not known his best position.
Yeah. Other than that, Wilshere would have,
but he's a hospital patient as a part-time footballer.
I think he would have. I think he would have got in above Ramsey if he hadn't left when he left.
But his contract was up the same time.
No,
the year
because
before.
he was going to sign a new contract. But yet again, it was one of the things when Unai Emery came in and went, I don't want you because you're an Arsene Wenger player, the same that he did with Ramsey and Koscielny. You're an Arsene Wenger player, I don't want you at the club. I'm going to cancel the contract they're trying to give you. Sort of ties your hands behind your back, doesn't it?
I guess so.
But I hope Jack has all the luck in the MLS. That's where he's going to go now. Same as Justin Hoyt.
Captain.
Cazorla.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because Koscielny was never a born leader. He grew into the role. But Cazorla was one of those players that almost led by example in everything he did. Like, you never hear a bad article about Cazorla. You never hear bad words spoken about Cazorla. Everyone he's played against has gone, phenomenal person, phenomenal player. Like, he just oozes class.
And then, obviously, I'm guessing manager-wise, only got to be one candidate. Mikel Arteta.
Maybe Unai Emery. No, obviously Wenger.
Yeah.
My real dad.
Don't, please. Spurs fans have got some serious songs regarding those types of things.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing Sol Campbell in your team of the decade.
Well,
I wanted to put Bob Wilson in just due to the fact he played 2 charity games. And there was no other real keeper, to be honest. But I'm interested in yours because I asked you if you had Dele in, your best friend, man you love.
He did only cost $5 million and is, by far and away better than Ozil.
Get in the bin. He's still your WhatsApp photo, by the way.
Definitely not.
And Dele.
Definitely not.
Oh no, I think you've changed it now, but it was for a long time. That was an old photo.
Yes, I've had my hair changed a couple of times since.
Oh, that's a questionable keeper.
We haven't had any others.
Yeah, exactly. What about Habo Gazaniga?
No.
Well, that was... Oh, spelling. Here we go. In before any spelling mistakes. I'm sorry about mine.
That.
Really? Try and make it sound like they're questionable, but they're not. I'm looking forward to this midfield.
Oh, it's Sauce.
Okay. He's Sauce. Did he play the decade? Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. I'll give you that one.
Well, you should, because he's played in the decade.
Yeah, but not long enough in the decade. I at least went for players that have played a fair bit.
See, now I've got two
spots
that are...
There's two on there that have played about 2 seasons.
That are killing me.
Saying that, so it's above me.
They're killing me.
I'm just saying, if you don't go with Delhi, he's going to be really sad.
Well, if Delhi's watching, or he's listening, yeah. See, now I've got one spot.
It could be filled by about 4 players.
It genuinely could. It genuinely could.
It's hurting you, isn't it?
This is so tough. Like, I don't think it's got to be.
No.
Has to be.
No. Oh my god.
Has to be.
But you haven't put him at centre. Oh, I'm going to pull up your centre back then.
And then...
Oh, your manager's got to be Harry.
Okay, so let's go through this then, shall we? I've seen quite a few Tottenham teams of the decade, and they are pretty standard in terms of the decade and what we've achieved and how far we've actually come within that decade. For me, goalkeeper, there's only one, Hugo Lloris, the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in a Spurs shirt, and a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
I remember the day that we signed him, and we've signed him for peanuts, by the way. And my dad was going, what's he like? And I just said 2 words. I said, world class. Because at the time, he could have gone, he had his pick of any club in Europe, in the world. He could have gone to Real Madrid, he could have gone to Barcelona, and he picked us. I know over the past sort of 3 seasons or so, he's started to drop off a little bit, especially with his distribution. But remember watching him, especially early on, and almost that sweeper keeper type of thing, the way we played under AVB. Yeah. So yeah, for me it has to be Hugo. But like I say, even though he's dropping off a little bit with distribution and things like that, he still is able to pull off saves and save us in games and pull off some really good and really crucial saves at crucial times. And like I say, he's won the ultimate prize in football, which is the World Cup. The fullbacks speak for themselves.
Really?
Walker and Rose. I mean, I think that back 4 actually speaks for itself.
Yeah.
One of the best defensive records in the league at one point. Especially in our last season at White Hart Lane, Walker and Rose were unbelievable, and I think rightly so cemented their place in the England team, not just the England squad, but the England team at that time. There are mentions for Vedran Korluka and Benoit Asuakoto, who Spurs fans might come to me and go, "No, they weren't all that." Actually, Korluka wasn't as bad as everybody makes out. Was a steady Eddie, shall we say, at the back. Asuakoto, alright, doesn't particularly like football, says it's a job and the money's great and so are the hours, but actually didn't really get roasted. Nobody really took the mick out of Asuakoto, and used to like him because he used to give a little bit into wingers and get away with it so many times, like it was ridiculous. And I think chalk and cheese, salt and pepper, fish and chips, Toby and Jan.
Yeah.
Partnerships. They complement each other so well. I think Toby's more of the dominant centre back and Jan's the cool, calm head in the back. I think I've got a good balance there as well. Obviously, Jan being a left-footed centre half as well. Vertonghen, as I mentioned in my Premier League team of the decade, has been one of the most consistent defenders in the Premier League. So not only just for Tottenham, and Toby, the fact we got him for 11 million is ridiculous. The fact that nobody's come in for him when he had £25 million release clause, again, ridiculous, because he's probably one of the best centre backs in the league as well. Certainly within the top 5 and whatnot. And like I say, the relationship that back 4 or even 5 had when they were all together was fantastic.
Yeah, that last season in the lane was deadly.
Yeah, literally. Mentions again, probably Michael Dawson, who fantastic servant for Tottenham, loves the club, as I'm sure people might find out on a soccer special when he sometimes covers our Champions League games, especially last season at Wembley. And of course Ledley. The reason why Ledley isn't in here is because he was coming towards the end of his time and
also a hospital patient.
But one of the best
on his day
I've ever seen. You know, the fact he never trained. He trained for 10 minutes on a Friday and would be the best player on the pitch on a Saturday is ridiculous. And there will be nobody else like Ledley. And as a man as well, fantastic man. Been fortunate enough to meet him a few times, and he's a fantastic person. But Toby and Jan, I think, for the decade, and I don't think too many people can argue with that one. Midfield.
Can I just say, absolute options, by the way.
Had a few, but Magician Modric, loved watching Luka. The things he used to do with the football was ridiculous, and was a pivotal part of us getting into the Champions League to begin with.
Yeah.
And then when we were in there, some of the performances that he put in were just fantastic. I know it sort of ended a little bit sourly in the fact that, you know, he submitted a transfer request, openly admitted he wanted to join Chelsea at the time, but Daniel Levy being Daniel Levy, it's not happening. Gave us another year and then went to Real Madrid after that, and has subsequently won the Ballon d'Or since. But in a Spurs shirt was just fantastic. I was thinking, how can somebody with his, not only his height, similar to Cazorla in the fact that small, kind of slight, but how can they just run midfields like that, especially in the league that we're in, where it is very sort of fast-paced and high-tempo. But he could turn his way out of a phone box, Luka Modric. He's ridiculous. And next to him is one of the best footballers I have ever seen in my life.
You still talk so much about him. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, you've just got Moussa Dembele murals up in your room.
I do have Moussa Dembele posters in my room. But honestly, one of the best footballers I have ever seen in my life, Moussa Dembele. It's like you say with Cazorla, it's like Spurs fans with Moussa Dembele. Can we have him back? Especially now, please, can we have him back in our midfield, because we miss him so much. The way he used to carry the ball, the way he used to glide past people as if they wasn't there. I remember Derby Day at Wembley when we beat Arsenal 1-0, controlled Xhaka, Wilshere and Ozil on his own.
Two of those midfielders aren't midfielders.
But that just cemented his greatest of all time status. The fact that he controlled a midfield 3 on his own in a North London derby was just ridiculous. And I don't think it's any surprise really that since he's left, Tottenham's form has dropped off. But actually come to us as a number 10 and then moved back and was just immense.
He is Spurs' Vieira.
He's just been immense. I mean, he
like the gap that he left, you didn't think he would leave.
No, and it's almost
That's
taken.
Why he's your guy's Vieira.
I think it's taken potentially now 1 or 2 players to come in and try and fill that void. You look at it, it could be Sissoko, it could be Ndombele, it could be now Gedson Fernandes, we've just brought in on loan from Benfica. But
that's a try before you buy, isn't it?
It is. It might work, it might not. But Moussa Dembele was the first name down on my and it will be the first name down on any Tottenham team that I ever do. First name down is Moussa Dembele all day. Player. Everybody at Spurs, the player-wise, wants him in their team, even in the five-a-sides, because he's just as strong as an ox, but has got ballerina feet at the same time, and you're wondering how it works. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Now, to the money end of the pitch, where I struggled big time.
You're saying money end. Imagine those players being sold in this market in their prime.
Oh, be ridiculous.
Absolute dollar.
Ridiculous.
Compared to the stadium for you.
I'm going to go with this man here, the once most expensive footballer in the world, Gareth Bale. The last couple of years we had of Gareth Bale, he was world class and nobody could touch him. It was Gareth Bale's world and we were all living in it. He single-handedly carried us to 5th, especially in AVB's first season.
Yeah.
We were pretty much a one-man team. Didn't want to say it at the time. I can say it now because he's doing whatever he's doing in Madrid.
Golf.
But at the time, he was just on another level from anybody else, and that's ultimately what got his move to Real Madrid. Gareth Bale, the free kicks, the goals, match-winning moments just from him. I can't really say any more other than he was just world class. I know we had a big spell in the decade previous where we wouldn't win if he played, and I think Harry Redknapp put him on when we were winning 4-0, and he said surely we're not going to lose this one. And then I think Harry played a big part in his career in terms of getting his mentality right. And then after that, he just took it and flew. And obviously, everybody remembers Inter Milan, retiring Maicon and everything like that.
The game that stands out is when you were losing, was it 4-0 at half time?
Yeah, away at the San Siro.
He just goes like that and scores that. All 3 goals are the exact same goal as well.
Yeah.
He was out. That was the first time I sort of sat there and went, oh my god. Because it was a left back that wasn't really good. And as soon as he got pushed further forward, you're there going, oh my god, this could be dangerous.
Yeah, and he was just different class for us. And I know there's a lot of Spurs fans that want him back. Would I have him back? Maybe. I don't want him to come back and almost it not work out, because I want to remember Gareth Bale for what he produced and not for, if it doesn't work out, I don't want him to be remembered for that. Number 10, I had a few options. I had, obviously, the man I've put in, Rafael van der Vaart. I had Christian Eriksen. I had Dele Alli. I've gone with Rafael van der Vaart because he brought something to Tottenham that we did not have at the time, which was a player who had the mentality, a winning mentality. He had been there, seen it, done it at every single level, made us sort of change the way we played a little bit, and just had the most amazing rapport with the fans. He understood from a fan's perspective what it meant in big games, in even in the he would also drag us out of games as well with a little bit of genius, with a little bit of brilliance. It might be a through pass for Defoe or Crouch or Keane, whoever or Pavlyuchenko, even who was up front with at the time. And yeah, Rafa for me was just
the game that stands out for me is obviously when you won 3 to the carpet, and it was him that turned that game around. Yeah,
he just had that star quality that we didn't.
Yeah,
we
and he
didn't
understood
have.
what it meant as well. Like when we speak about, they understand what it means for a fan. Like Cazorla had that in big games. He knew what it meant for the fans. Van der Vaart almost embodied what you wanted as a Spurs fan on the field.
100%. And he famously said, all his favourite goals are the ones he scored against Arsenal, not like it says Fabregas, because he only scored twice against us. Van der Vaart done it a few more times.
And there was that goals.
The thing is with Van der Vaart as well, and you guys can go and watch it on, his goals on YouTube, especially in the Spurs shirt. He did like to wind up the opposition fans as well. He did give it a little shush as well, which was quite interesting. I did enjoy that. But no, Rafa for me, I could have put Eriksen in.
Does he break your heart with a transfer request?
No, not at all. I think Eriksen has been very, very inconsistent in a Spurs shirt. And I don't think Eriksen believes he's as good as the ability that he's got. Van der Vaart knew how good he was. And yeah, obviously I know with Eriksen now it's not ending how we want it to end, and he's not putting in the level of performance that we expect, but so much ability. But for me, Eriksen is just that little bit too inconsistent. Like, he will have a worldie of a game and then go missing for 5 or 6. And I think that's what's separating Eriksen from like a De Bruyne or a David Silva, because I think ability-wise, there's not much difference. I just think consistency-wise, De Bruyne's and your Silvers and people like that, of that ilk, are ahead of him. But again, it was a tough call because, like I say, Eriksen's dug us out over many, many years with late goals and assists and things like that. But yeah, I just had to put Van der Vaart in.
Yeah.
Left wing, Heung-min Son. I resisted temptation to put in Aaron Lennon for personal reasons, because I loved watching Aaron Lennon. My hero and my idol was Aaron Lennon. But Heung-min Son, I think over the time that we've had him, has just been electric. So much energy, so much pace, very, very direct when running at full-backs. I think they'll always get tired of playing against Heung-min Son. Can pop up in a number of... He could probably play anywhere across this, across the front. And some of the goals that he has scored as well have just been fantastic. Namely, the goal against Burnley this season has just been...
That was phenomenal.
His goal of the season.
He's also got that, I'm going to use it as like what Freddie used to do. If someone runs past him, he's kicking them. He's not letting them get past. But the thing is, he does it with a smile, so he gets away with it.
A little bit like Fernandinho does for City. But I think Son's personality as well is just brilliant.
Yeah.
You can't really not fall in love with Heung-min Son.
Okay.
He's just one of those people that you just go, oh my God, Sonny, I just love you. And things like that. So all the little bits and pieces he does, sort of in and around the training ground and everything like that, as fans, it's something that we all enjoy and we all love. So, and actually as well, because I think there has been times where clubs sign a player from Eastern Asia as more of a market employ, whereas he is a very, very good footballer, and Heung-min Son is a very good footballer. So there's that off the back of it as well, because like I say, they might sign somebody who isn't the greatest.
Done it a couple of times.
Yeah, they're not the greatest, but revenue-wise, it's going to go through the roof, because I think Heung-min Son is literally like South Korea's David Beckham. He is their go-to player.
It's a deity.
Yeah, he is. But like I say, he's a fantastic player and stepped up last season with Harry Kane being injured, and has scored some really, really important and vital goals for us. And I think he's almost undroppable in this Tottenham team and in this Tottenham side. Listen, there's only one man that's going to ever be up front in this decade, and it's Harry Kane. Shout out Jermaine Defoe, shout out Robbie Keane, Peter Crouch, Pavlyuchenko, Adebayor, Soldado, Vincent Janssen, and whatnot, but Harry Kane is world class.
Not Llorente?
Big Fernando. Oh my!
City?
Listen, Fernando Llorente, you are probably one of the best backup strikers we've ever had, and you will give any Spurs fan one of the greatest nights of their lives with what you did at the Etihad. I was there that night and it was mental. But it's Harry Kane all day, every day, twice again on Sundays. He came in as a bit of a unknown to many, and is now one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best striker in the world. He's just world class. He just scores goals. He's in the time he's been in the first team at Spurs, he's now Tottenham's Premier League record goal scorer. That is just ridiculous. He just scores goals.
I will caveat that with, when you've got players like Ali, Eriksen, Son, Mora, Lamela playing behind you, That's not a hard role to do.
However, you say that, but he's still got to finish the chances off.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, he's going to score. And when he is through 1-on-1, like I say, 9 times out of 10, he's more than likely to score. So, but yeah, Harry Kane, all-round centre forward, can virtually do it. Can play on the shoulder, running behind, can hold it, bring others into play, and loves a goal in the North London derby as well. So, yeah, captain of country at 25. That goes a long way.
He won't be there this Euros though, so it's going to have to be big Marcus up top, isn't it?
We'll see, because there's a chance that he might be fit for the Euros. Obviously, he's got a big injury now, but yeah, I don't think you can look past Harry Kane. And like I say, we've had some decent strikers at Spurs over the past decade. We've had some clangers as well, but we've had some decent strikers. Like I say, Jermaine Defoe, most natural born finisher I've ever seen.
There was something that came up earlier because there's talks of him coming back to England at some point, isn't there? It was like all the clubs that he's been at and how many goals he scored, and you're sitting there just going, it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous.
Yeah. Robbie Keane was a classy centre forward for us, done a lot for the club. Yeah. Pavlyuchenko, inconsistent but never scored a tap in. Yeah. All his goals are just worldies. You know, I can remember the one at Young Boys, the goal he scored against Wolves away, sticks out. One against Birmingham to send them down. He just lashes the life out the ball and sticks it in the top corner, or in the corners every time. Crouchy done well for us, gave us good service, and again pivotal to us being in the Champions League. And then once we were there, again put in some really good performances. Struck up a great partnership with Van der Vaart as well, and things like that. And then obviously we had a bit of a lull with Adebayor and Soldado and whatnot. And then luckily we've had Captain Kane coming in.
Talking of captains, who's your captain in this side?
Very difficult. Very difficult. And I think there's a few contenders in there.
There's one that sticks out for me.
Go on.
Musa.
I don't think he's captain material, if I'm honest. I'm going to go with Harry Kane. Captain Kane. I just think he's probably got his mentality to just want to be the best every day.
Let's hope he gets back to that, because the last couple of seasons he's obviously had the injuries and struggled. I hate to say it, but I hope he gets back to it for international level. He can break his ankles at Spurs. Don't care.
But yeah, for me, Captain Kane.
Yeah.
Captain
Manager,
Kane.
AVB?
Definitely not. Sherwood, no chance. Harry.
What about the guy that you got from the crowd to do it?
Yeah, he was in. He had a great stint, that guy. So I think there's probably 2 contenders, and it's between Harry and Poch. And for me, it has to be Pochettino.
I was going to say.
What he took over in terms of a football club.
To what he left it.
Chalk and cheese. He took over a football club that was losing its way, that had a lot of people that necessarily did not want to be there. A lot of people sort of there for the money, because Tottenham paid decent money, not great money in terms of its competitors, but decent money. I know a lot of it's bonus incentivified, but was sort of there for the money, didn't particularly care. It was more of a job, that kind of thing. And yeah, I get it that it is a job, but ultimately when he left it in a much better place with a new stadium. You know, the training ground was already there when he was there, but you know, now we've gone from a team that finished 5th, pushing for top 4, to a team now that believes we can win the league.
Yeah.
And get into the Champions League final as well.
That's the thing. Like, there was a banner at the Middlesbrough game that was like, "Oh, Levy out, you've done nothing. There's been no success." A lot of fans will only see success as trophies.
Yeah.
What Poch and Levy have built behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Is successful because it's made you a bigger club.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of untangible success that's happened at Tottenham. Yeah. And like you say, the tangible success is the trophies, and that's the only thing that can be levelled really at Pochettino. I think there was that last season at White Hart Lane, we should have won a trophy. Probably the FA Cup. Should we have won the league? A lot of people will go, you came further to us race. Yeah, we never went top, unlike some clubs, especially on Valentine's Day, eh, Connor? So
it's a lovely day, that.
For me, I don't think we were ever there to win the league.
Yeah, the way your players were big in it, I think that's big, and some of your fans were big in it.
I had the only time I thought we'd win the league is when we beat Stoke away 4-0. That was the time I thought we could. And I genuinely had because a lot of people were asking me at the time, I was at university and stuff like that, and people were going, do you think you can win the league? I went, no. I genuinely didn't, apart from that Stoke game where I thought we've got a chance. And that was quite late in the season.
If Giroud had been an actual striker for 6 months of the season, Arsenal would have won it. And I think that was the fairy tale.
That was Arsenal's time, I think. But that was the only thing I think Pochettino failed to do. And I think, had we won the Champions League, he'd have gone down as the greatest manager probably in Tottenham's history.
Glad you did win the Champions League.
So, yeah, but like I said, he left the football club in a much, much better state than what he found it. Delivered a philosophy, club culture that now Mourinho has picked up on, likes it, and wants to try and keep it as best as he can. For the minute, anyway. We'll see what happens next season.
Don't worry, Tanganga's going on loan next year.
Well, at this rate, he's probably starting because the centre backs we've got are inconsistent. But yeah, that is my Tottenham team of the decade.
Not a bad side.
Not a bad side. Right then, guys. That is us done for this week. Let us know who has got the better team. We're going to use the hashtag Team Wes and Team Connor for that one. And also let us know who you think would win in a match between my team and Connor's team. So you have to do...
My team's destroying your midfield. I'm not having it. Cazorla's running rings around those two.
He's not getting out of Dembele's pocket at all. So yeah, guys, let us know. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and follow as well. Peace out.